The highest value of all life, for all life forms in the universe, is love. This is not just a hippie saying. This is not a stage green new age teaching. I'm talking about absolute truth. You can become directly conscious of this for yourself. And if you just think about it intuitively, it makes sense too. What have you been chasing your entire life? Love. That's it. As a child, what did you want from your parents? Love. What did you want from your mother and your father? Love. What did you want from your girlfriends and boyfriends? Love. What did you want from your teachers? Love. What did you want from the video games you were playing and the movies you were watching? Love. What did you want from life? Love. What do you want when you eat food? You want to love the food. What do you want to do when you're hanging out with your friends? You want to love your friends. You want to do loving things with your friends, to your friends. Have them do loving things to you. Even if you're doing science, you're doing it out of love. It's a love of the exploration of the nature, the universe. You love science. Anything you're doing in reality, if you're doing it for the right reasons, you're doing it out of love. And then it's just a matter of how exactly will it be manifested. For some of you, it will be art. For some of you, it will be business. For some of you, it will be sex. For some of you, it will be raising a family. For some of you, it will be lecturing and teaching. For others of you, it will be exploring nature. For all of us, the highest value is love. And the reason that is because there's nothing else in the universe but love. The universe, the physical universe, your physical hands are a manifestation of love. That's what you recognize when you collapse the self and your mind. But you cannot understand this without collapsing yourself and your mind. The only thing that is preventing you from recognizing infinite love, all the things I just said, is your selfishness, your ego, and your attachment to a human identity, and your attachment to biases for different values. You value one thing over another thing. If you keep doing that and you insist on doing that, and you refuse to surrender that, you will never awaken to the fact that everything is love. If you are resistant to relativity, you will never awaken to infinite love. And infinite love is not a relative thing. Infinite love is absolute. And you might say, but Leo, so you're contradicting yourself. You're saying that it's all relative, and then now you're saying it's absolute. Which is it? It's both. It's a paradox because it's a synthesis of every distinction. It's a synthesis of every duality. Reality is one. God is one. You are one. There has only been one thing happening in your consciousness your entire life. You, this bubble of consciousness, is all that there is. There's nothing else. It's one. The only thing that was creating the illusion that there's more than one is your imagination. And that's what God is. God is an infinite field of consciousness of pure, unlimited imagination. It's all-powerful imagination. It's imagination that's so powerful that it can even imagine that it is not imagining reality, and that becomes what you consider reality. Physical reality is a dream. It's purely imaginary. But you don't think it's a dream because you're imagining that it's not a dream. Accepting this for most people is very, very threatening and radical because it erodes and deconstructs all power structures, all hierarchies, all value systems, even your idea of sanity and physical reality. All of it gets deconstructed. Not as a philosophy. Actually, when you fully collapse your mind, you actually go through a process of death and rebirth. This is not a metaphorical, poetical death and rebirth. You actually go through death. You literally die. the idea of you dies forever. And you say, oh my God, that's awful. It's only awful if you judge it to be awful. But when you realize that your judgment of it as awful is itself an illusion, what happens is that everything collapses into an infinite singularity of pure love. And then what happens is you discover God and you discover heaven. That's what heaven is. Heaven is not a nice place somewhere in the clouds where they feed you grapes and give you endless orgasms. Heaven is nothing other than the realization that there's no difference between anything. There's no value to anything. There's no meaning to anything because everything is empty and meaningless. Everything is so meaningless and so valueless that it goes full circle into infinite meaning, infinite value, absolute love. This is what every religious teaching has been about since the dawn of civilization. But most people who are reading these teachings and interpreting them are too unconscious and too selfish and too corrupt and too biased and too fearful to understand the teachings and to actually do them. You can't understand these teachings by reading them or memorizing them or by aping them through some 10 commandment process.